Hey, everybody. I wanted to kind of spend a little bit of time walking you guys through this week's information as well as the assignment that we're going to be doing. And so I am working my way through that as we speak. But this week's information we are provided on is extemporaneous speaking and impromptu speaking. And the biggest thing that NSDA and ACTA say about extemporaneous speaking is this. You are going to draw, you're going to go to a draw room, actually, and you will draw three topics and you will choose one. From that moment, you have 30 minutes to be able to prepare a speech. You must prepare the speech in the extemp prep room, okay, where you draw. All right. And what you are going to do, and it is regulated, there are people in there watching to make sure that you're not cheating or any of those kind of things. The parameters are getting less rigorous, which is nice. But you are allowed to use your computers now. You're allowed to use your laptops. There are quite a bit of information in regards to how to do that on NSDA. Okay, so if you are interested in this after we've gotten through this week and want to kind of look through it, we can talk more about NSDA and how it regulates and all of that. You will then go over to another room where the judge is, and you must give your topic slip to the judge prior to your delivery, and you have 30 minutes to prep that speech, and you have 7 minutes with a 30-second grace period to be able to deliver that speech on the topic that you draw. It is two different styles. There is US extemp or domestic extemp, and then there's international extemp, which is IX. We normally, if you're new to this, we do put you into the US extemp because it's easier for you to navigate until you kind of get your bearings about you. And then we move you into the international realm. One of the things that's really difficult is that each month we have what's called umbrella topics that come out. And you can pretty much guesstimate the US ones, but international is kind of hit or miss sometimes. And so every month, the umbrella topics come out and they will kind of showcase what the extemp topics could be that you're drawing from. Okay. The tournaments will sometimes do that as well. They will break it on down to like prelim. We'll be covering, the election, 2020 election. Second, we'll be covering, Peter Buttigieg and his rise to fame. It could be a number of different things. So, you then can prep a Dropbox and that kind of thing, or depending on what NSDA says, you can use your computer to be able to search. You cannot use any notes or note cards or anything like that. However, it is highly encouraged that you do use a journal of some kind in the prep room to prepare your speech so that you have something documented to be able to turn in for portfolio grade at the end of the semester. The key to both of these speaking styles is the oratory outline. It guarantees that your speech is going to be organized. And if you can use three main points and use cited sources to carry your points across, that is going to benefit you highly. Okay. The other thing is that we have a disagreement back and forth as to whether or not humor is important. Some of your mentors say that they always try to pull in humor. I don't really care for humor in a speech. It's okay, I guess. But the big thing that I'm looking for is organization and speaking style. Can you pull me in? Can you give me an organized speech that holds my attention for 7 minutes? Okay. Movement bases off of the oratory delivery style of platforming. Okay. You start with one point, you move over to the next point, you move to the next point, you move to the next point, and in conclusion, and then you can have a call to action or not. The key to this, though, is you have to answer the topic as a yes or no, and then build it from there. Okay? So you do have to choose a side. If you don't, which is not saying that you don't have to, you can give us both sides, and that actually then spells out one or two of the points, and then what to do is your third point, and then wrapping it up in conclusion and reminding us of the 3 points and what we should learn. Okay, it is exactly like delivering an oratory, but in a shorter amount of time. Okay, so memorize the oratory outline, make sure you understand it. Metaphor takes it to that higher level of thinking. If you can get that, do it. If you can't, don't worry about it. Just make sure that you've got solid evidence for each point that you create, and then go from there. Okay. Your movement is optional, but we do encourage it just in regards to platforming. Okay. One of the things that internet access is not allowed in speech prep, but you may use a computer with downloaded files. This may have changed. I do need to make sure that we check NSDA for you guys. The biggest thing to remember is that it is a 7-minute speech, no notes. It has to be connection to the judge, and you are delivering a well-performed, well-oiled speech. Okay. If you go over the grace period, you cannot be ranked first. Okay. Ideally, where I want you to hit is about 6:15 to 6:45. Okay. That's a really good spot to be able to kind of levy from. Okay. This is the 2017 International Extemp Speaking National Winner. And so make sure that you look at that. These are the things that I look for in regards to extemporaneous speaking. Give me an attention grabbing teaser. Give me something that, like, whether it's a powerful story or whether it is your metaphor, whether it is something that's personal. Those are great because it pulls your judge in immediately. Then you take us through the roadmap, the 3 main points. Those are a must. You must have 3 main points, okay? And you'll use that oratory outline in your head, and you'll write it into a journal. It makes it so that it is easy to understand. It's easy to follow. It gives you kind of a memory type thing because you can't have the papers. So it gives you a memory type thing to be able to work from. I would suggest that you try to find, and this is the hardest part of Extemp, a cited source for each of the 3 points. And you have to cite them verbatim. Okay, with a citing on it. Newsweek, March 2020, from an article entitled da-da-da-da, written by blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's a lot, but you know what I mean. And then you're going to cite the source, the quoted material verbatim. Okay, that's the hardest part of Extemp. Everything else, you can kind of talk it off the top of your head and off the cuff and all of that. And then once you have moved from that opening thing and you're stating your 3 points as to how you're going to go, and then you move over to the first point, cite a source, cite a source, cite a source. Then you move to the second point, cite a source, cite a source, cite a source. Move to the third point, cite a source, cite a source, cite a source. Then you're going to wrap it up into your conclusion. And this is where you do remind us of the 3 points, and you can gesture towards each one and wrap it up. But you see what's happening here is you're also using time, which is excellent. Okay. You want to get to that 6:15, 6:45 time frame, because the more that you talk in a well-organized fashion and connect to your judge and pull us in and are entertaining or educational, the more apt you're going to do to advance. Okay. Because there are going to be kids that are going to get up there and go, they're going to be like 3 minutes, if that. And that's going to happen in your initial startings of this. And it's okay. Okay. You got to start somewhere. So make sure that you do start with the oratory outline and struggle your way through that. Okay. Then the next one Oh, this is off of NSDA, and this is what to expect when you're competing in international extemp. Now they only do international, but US is the same thing. Okay, it's the same expectations, and it's easier for you to get acclimated to the US style rather than navigating through all of the crazy things going on in the world. Whereas it just condenses it down to our country and gives you a little bit of a firmer grounding, so that by the time that you get more confident in that, then we move you into international. Okay. Impromptu. Impromptu is, I think, easier. However, what you're doing is you are going into the room with the judge, and they will have an envelope of topics. You receive umbrella topics at the from the tournament, and then you start to kind of think your way through, like, what happens if I would draw this, or what happens if I would draw that, or da 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 da. And so it is it's easier because it's more like it's broader. It's not anything that you have to cite sources for. It's not anything that you have to research for. You're pulling it off the cuff. The challenge of impromptu is that you have 7 minutes total to draw the topics. You draw 3 and then you choose one. The minute you choose the one, the time starts, and you have 7 minutes to prepare a speech and deliver a speech. Okay. I suggest you use the oratory outline because it gives you that grounding of organization. It gives you that understanding. It gives you something to go from. Then you present that topic to the judge and you stand up and begin to present. What I suggest is that you start getting up. Get yourself to a point where you can start to get up at about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes of prep, so that you are talking for the majority of the time. Okay. This will set you apart. Platforming is still in effect. 3 main points is still in effect. Attention getter is still in effect. All of that is still in effect for impromptu. It's just that you have 7 minutes to draw the topic. Once you select it, you have 7 minutes to prepare the speech and deliver it. Okay. We're going to do both this week. So this week and next week, possibly. So we will work our way through these this week. Okay. The other thing is that it's a public you select that topic, but it can be as lighthearted or as serious as you want it to be, and it can be any kind of a prompt. It can be cooking recipes. It can be Mahatma Gandhi comments. It could be current events. It could be anything. The colors. It could, and then you just brainstorm from there. The key to it is trying to build that metaphor and make a connection with not just using the topic itself, but like for instance, the color red. Red is very vibrant. Red is very fiery. And maybe you could give a speech on anger management because red is fiery. And that's what we supposedly see when we get very angry. You see what's happening? So I'm shifting. I'm not talking about the color red fully. I'm talking about the next step, which would be anger management and how do we do it. Okay. You see what I'm doing there? So these are really valuable articles that I would hope that you guys will take some time to read, and becoming a better speaker. I know that we feel nervous a lot in regards to how to get up and public speak. And so these 3 articles are ways to be able to help you navigate through the public speaking realm a little bit better. Okay. As always, if you have any questions, remember your mentors are here for you, and and I'm here for you. So good luck. Have a good week.